KSN News at 10 begins now.
I'm extremely grateful for the firefighters who's been out there all day from a lot of different municipalities.
1,000 homes are in the path of wildfires right now as thousands of acres and several homes have already burned. Good evening, I'm Stephanie Bergman. Darren is off tonight. The fire danger is very real for a lot of Kansas families tonight. The fire that burned from Oklahoma into Comanche and Barber counties is still burning right now. 72,000 acres so far. 2 homes in the Medicine Lodge area are gone. Up to 1,000 more homes and buildings are in danger, meaning evacuations for some people. We have team coverage tonight of that fire and other fires in the area, plus a check on the health risks of all this smoke. Let's start with Molly Brewer, who's live in Medicine Lodge. Molly?
Stephanie, I'm here near the intersection of 160 and 281 in Medicine Lodge. You can still kind of see the orange glow of the fire behind me. Police officers still have the road closed off to through traffic. Right now, only residents that need to get to their homes are allowed through. We know that crews are actively fighting the fires out here. It's difficult to tell exactly how much has burned, but right now we know the latest numbers say 72,000 acres. Now, officials here tell us there's no way of really knowing exactly how many acres this fire has burned until they're able to fly its entire perimeter. We know the declaration of disaster emergency will allow for help from the state. We also know a lot of people are being encouraged to leave their homes tonight for safety. Right now, the town of Medicine Lodge, which has about 2,000 residents, is under a voluntary evacuation, with both Pratt and the Chaparral High School in Anthony accepting people. The hospital and the jail here in Medicine Lodge also evacuated earlier this evening, relocating people to Harper County. The Medicine Lodge mayor tonight, their priority is saving the town.
We've maintained some of the Medicine Lodge firefighters in town for a final defense of the town. We're trying to cover all bases. It's been just a tremendous example of cooperation and support.
The mayor said that the town is incredibly thankful for all the different fire crews from around the state that have come to lend a hand. It looks like this is going to be another very long night for crews out here fighting this fire as they continue to protect the homes and the towns and the people from the flames. Live in Medicine Lodge, Molly Brewer, KSN News.
All right, stay safe out there, Molly. There have not been any mandatory evacuations in Barber or Comanche counties, but residents were told they should voluntarily leave their homes. The Red Cross has been in Medicine Lodge all day, working to provide food and water for the crews and shelter to those displaced.
In this area, there are 3 of us responding to here, and then in Comanche County, we have 2, and in Pratt, we have several volunteers that are setting up a shelter if needed there.
We stopped by the shelter at the community center in Pratt. They have close to 40 cots set up there. They didn't have anyone signed in at that time, but did have a lot of people donate water for those who need it.
I just brought in some Gatorade. I know that the community was asking for donations of water and Gatorade for the people that are fighting the fires and have been out it for hours on end. And you sit at home and you see all the news coverage and hear from your friends and family that have been affected, and you just feel for them. So anything you can do, you try to help.
There's also a shelter set up at Chaparral High School. The shelters will remain open until emergency officials declare they don't need them anymore. We've been talking about just how big the fire is, and as Molly mentioned at last check, it was at least 72,000 acres. Let's get an idea of just how big that is. That's roughly the size of Wichita. That's how much land has burned in the last 24 hours or so. Dave Freeman's been tracking the strong winds all day. He joins us now with a look at whether they're going to die down anytime soon, Dave.
I don't have hopeful news in that category. Let's start, though, Stephanie, with going back and showing you how we were using dual polarization Doppler radar to track these fires earlier today. This is about 6 o'clock this evening. We were at that time seeing the smoke plume stretching from northern Oklahoma all the way up to I-70. And I know that you looked outside and saw that smoke coming right over Wichita as we went through the dinner time hours. Now, here's what it looked like down here where the fire was meaning business. Right down here in south and west of Medicine Lodge and also near Medicine Lodge, we see indications where we might have points of fire producing that smoke plume, which was at that time being lifted to the south and west. The other thing that we were watching was right up here in that area east of Hutchinson, northwest of Newton, around Burton. At this particular time, that that smoke plume was a little bit less visible, but there you see a hint of it. Now, of course, the wind is the critical thing. Let's take a look at them. These are up to the second winds now, showing that Wichita is out of the west at 19, Medicine Lodge northwest now at 22, Pratt northwest at 23. That's going to be a key, because where that wind goes, that's where the smoke and the fire goes, Steph.
All right, thanks, Dave. Speaking of that, several of our viewers have sent us photos of the smoke from the wildfires. Take a look. John sent us this picture from McPherson of the sky looking very yellow. Take a look at what Logan saw near Lyons. And Dawn sent us this photo from right here in Wichita showing the sun looking red because of all the smoke. We'd love to see the pictures that you snap. Just send them to reportit@ksn.com. Another community hit hard by these wildfires is the small town of Sun City. Most of the town, about 50 people, evacuated earlier today. Sheriff's deputies and nearby residents worked to help people pack up and leave town. Most left with just a few valuables.
There was just fires starting up everywhere. I mean, just everywhere. And so I wanted to get my pictures, water all around the house all night long, get my pictures, get my animals.
The community of Lake City, southeast of Sun City, also threatened at one point by the flames. Another fire that caused evacuations is burning in eastern Reno County and western Harvey County. It's destroyed at least one home and damaged another. Many residents there have left their homes, and crews from multiple agencies have been called in to assist. Craig Anderson has been following this fire. He continues our team coverage in Burton.
About 3 miles north of Burton, this fire continues to flare up. Get a look behind me. This is a pasture where they have some cattle. They moved the cattle off this land, but the flare-ups continue with a strong wind out here. They're estimating this fire line stretches about 15 miles west to east, just a few miles north of Burton. They say they're only hitting the hot spots right now near homes to save as many homes and structures as they can, because they just don't have the manpower to get all of this knocked out. They say they could be out here for days.
It'll eventually stop, of course, but we're going to have a lot of cleanup and debris and structures to guard for several days.
I talked to one person, Alan, who says the fire got near his house. He had about 5 minutes to get out.
Well, we got all the family out and got them to town, but we only had 5 minutes or less. When that wind turned, the fire was a mile to a mile and a half west of us. And when the wind turned and it headed our way, I saw it turn, and we had 5 minutes, was all.
Now, fortunately, Alan says that his house made it. Firefighters got there and knocked out the fire, but he lost some buildings and some vehicles in it. He says he's just happy to be alive with his family out okay as well. As for Burton officials, they got the command post set up. They've got the high school open for anybody who's displaced from their home. They're just fighting structures at this time. Outside Burton, Craig Andrus, KSN News.
All right, thank you, Craig. Several other fires have been burning in and around Kansas. Here's an update on those. Butler County Dispatch says a fire at Southwest 190th and Haverhill Road is now out. They had another fire break out around Northwest 40th and Haverhill Road, but that fire is currently under control too. There were no structures damaged and no injuries. Firefighters put out a major structure fire near McPherson. No injuries reported there. Here in Wichita, this was the scene downtown just a few hours ago. Ash fell from the clouds like rain, and the air was filled with the acrid smell of smoke. We wanted to know how this might affect your health, so we spoke with a nurse at Wesley Medical Center. Avery Anderson joins us live with how you can protect yourself. Avery?
Steph, it's obvious when you step outside here in Wichita, you can smell the smoke from those fires out west. And if you have any kind of asthma or respiratory issues, that pressure from the smoke can potentially be dangerous. Now, here at Wesley Medical, I spoke to some officials, and they said that they have seen a steady increase in patients coming into the emergency room within the hour, and they're expecting to see more overnight. Now, a respiratory nurse that I talked to said that if you have asthma, if you have any kind of respiratory condition, to stay inside if possible, and make sure that you have an inhaler on hand.
Well, the smoke is a horrible trigger for asthma or anybody with respiratory disease. Our best advice would be for people just to stay inside, keep their windows closed, doors closed. If they have air conditioners, turn those on. That can help filter out the air in your house.
And once again, just to reiterate, if you are needing medication, if you have asthma or any respiratory issues, to make sure you do have an inhaler or some kind of oxygen on hand. If you are having trouble, you can come to the emergency room and they'll treat you with some kind of breathing treatments. For now, live in Wichita, Avery Anderson, KSN News.
All right, good advice. We have sent several geofence alerts warning residents of highway closings in the area. A portion of US 160 is still closed tonight east of Coldwater because of blowing smoke and dust. We also sent messages up to those in the northwest part of our state who are dealing with blizzard conditions, if you can believe it, alerting them of road closures. Yes, a powerful spring blizzard is wreaking havoc in Colorado and portions of northwest Kansas. The whiteout conditions have left travelers stranded and caused numerous accidents. Denver International Airport was closed for several hours today, but it has since resumed limited flights. Dave Freeman's been tracking the weather and joins us with the latest.
You know, Stephanie, just in the last couple of minutes, our friends and colleagues at the National Weather Service office in Goodland in the northwest part of Kansas said that their forecaster who was coming on duty had a heck of a time just getting to the office because of whiteout conditions, zero visibility. Easy to understand why when you look up here in the northwest part of Kansas. We still have pretty good snow falling from south of Goodland all the way up to McCook, Nebraska. And as we take a little bit closer look at this, you'll notice that we have some darker shades of blue in the radar from around Goodland up toward Atwood and then almost up to McCook, Nebraska. So we actually still have a decent band of snow coming down. And just in the last couple of minutes, Goodland has reported a 50-knot, 58-mile-an-hour wind gust at the airport right now. So blowing, drifting, reduced visibilities, blizzard conditions will make travel difficult to impossible all the way through the night in the northwest part of Kansas. I think it could be morning before we see some of those roadways opening back up.
On that note, let's take a look at the latest road conditions reported by KDOT. I-70 is closed west of Waukegan to the Colorado border because of the winter weather and limited accommodations for travelers. US 36 is also closed from Atwood to the Colorado border. We have a link to the KDOT road conditions on our website. Just head to ksn.com. And the best way to stay up to date with the constantly changing weather is by downloading our new Storm Tracker 3 Everywhere app. With it, you'll get customized alerts warning you of inclement weather headed your way and even get street-level radar. The app is free to download on Apple and Android devices. And we have more to come here at 10. The Kansas Jayhawks will play in the Sweet 16 tomorrow night. Coming up, we'll have a live report from Louisville. And later, the St. Jude Dream Home is nearing completion. We'll show you what the house looks like now. This time tomorrow, the Kansas Jayhawks will be playing in the Sweet 16 for their chance to move on in the NCAA tournament. Sports Director Emily Gagnon joins us live from Louisville now with a look at how the Hawks are preparing for the big game. Em?
Yeah, Stephanie, do you remember back when KU's string of 11 straight Big 12 titles was in jeopardy? They had dropped 3 straight conference road games, and teams like WV and OU were really stepping up. That's when players got together and decided to become the team they are today.
Just that it sucks to lose. I mean, it's not very fun at all, and we enjoy winning a lot more. And so, you know, that drive, it really helps our team make sure that we stay on the same page and we don't have any mental letdowns in the game. And then as far as the energy and effort standpoint, we can't ever be outworked or let somebody compete more than us, because we know we got a lot of talent and we're a great team. We just got to go out there and do the other things.
You know as well as anyone else, basketball is king in the state of Kansas. You guys are going up against a guy who played at KU and he coached there for a little bit. How unique is that situation?
It is unique, but I mean, there's a lot of people who've come through Kansas and gone on to be very successful, and so it's cool and all, but I think it's just going to be extra motivation for him to win, and I think he's probably watched a lot of us just because he's played at Kansas before, so he definitely knows us, and I'm sure he'll get his team ready, and we'll be ready as well.
When Mark Turgeon became head coach at Texas A&M and he played KU for the first time, he did admit it was weird to play his former team, but now he says he's used to it. Tomorrow's game is all about his players, not about him. I'll be back in sports.
We'll see you then, and we'll continue to follow the Jayhawks in their quest for another national championship. Look for our reports on air and online. Well, it feels like we saw it all today. Blizzards in the northwest, dry, windy conditions, and fire for the rest of the state. When we come back, we'll check back with Dave to see how long the conditions will last. His full forecast is next.
Now, your KSN Storm Tracker 3 forecast.
If you're just joining us, I just want to step back in time real quick again just to show you how we were able to use our radar to track the smoke plumes earlier today. This is not a line of showers across south central Kansas. This was, in fact, at about 6 o'clock. This was the plume of smoke from that series of fires down in Medicine Lodge and then on down into northern Oklahoma. And of course, at that time with southwest winds, that all was drifting right across Wichita. That's why we had that low-hanging, ominous smoke plume coming right across the city, dropping ashes and pieces of grass on top of us right at dinner time. On the bottom end of it, when we're looking at that smoke plume, we're looking down into these places where the smoke originates and then gets carried to the north and west. And again, as we've seen through the evening, a shift in the winds has forced some changes in the strategies in how the firefighters have been dealing with that. Now, let's go ahead and follow up into the area between Newton and Hutchinson. We were watching that potential for smoke plume in the area around Burton. That has been a little bit less obvious on the radar. Now, once we get past sunset, we tend to lose a lot of that off the radar, so we turn our attention now to the blizzard. This is up to the current time, and we're still seeing blizzard conditions in the northwest part of Kansas, including indications, again, from, say, Goodland, almost up to McCook, back down to Atwood. You can see those darker shades of blue. We still have falling snow up there with significant blizzard conditions making travel extremely difficult. Let's check the winds. You'll be amazed. Look up there in the northwest. Goodland, a sustained wind at 45 miles an hour, 37 at McCook. Notice that the winds are still westerly at Wichita. Those are going to be switching around as we go through the night. We're also getting a lot cooler. It's 46 at Wichita, 45 at Hutchinson, but much colder air is already in place in the northwest. It's right now 28 degrees at Goodland. So let's go to our Stormcast computer simulation. Watch what happens hour by hour through the overnight. The storm lifts to the north and the east. It tails off. We get clearing in the west. Still a bit cloudy in Wichita at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, but as we go through the morning, I think by the time we get to lunchtime, we'll start to see the sun breaking back out through the afternoon. Still windy. We're still going to have to be cautious about fire danger through tomorrow, and then we settle into a cold night tomorrow night. So for Wichita now through the rest of tonight, winds switching to the northwest, 20 to 35. 34 for the overnight low. Tomorrow, still northwest 15 to 30, so even though a lot cooler, will still be dry. I think we still need to keep an eye on fire danger. Wichita does have a chance to get a couple of showers, maybe Saturday into Sunday morning before sunshine returns, and short sleeve weather returns next week. For north central Kansas, I think we also could see a couple of showers here Saturday, perhaps lingering into Sunday morning before sunshine returns for you. In the southwest, I think your shower chances are limited to Saturday. Should be all done by the time we get to Sunday. Warm and dry again next week. In the northwest, no kidding, we could be looking at rain or snow showers again in the northwest on Saturday with a high of only 40. But don't blink, you'll be right back to short sleeve weather by the time we get to Tuesday. And we'll be right back with more KSN News.
KSN is a proud sponsor of the St. Jude Dream Home, and today those involved in the project, along with some of the local families helped by St. Jude, got to sign their names on the floor of the house and leave messages of encouragement. KSN's Avery Anderson was there and has an inside look at what happened tonight.
A message of hope. That's what dozens wrote on the floor of the master bedroom inside the St. Jude Dream Home.
It's a chance for everybody that's been involved in this home that helped build it and helped donate all the materials to come through and sign their well wishes for families and kind of pay tribute to all the patients of St. Jude.
Families were able to draw pictures and write words of love to others with grateful hearts towards St. Jude. Melissa's 4-year-old daughter, Adele, was diagnosed with cancer 3 years ago. She says her daughter is alive today because of the organization.
St. Jude is such an amazing hospital and an amazing charity. They're such good stewards of the money that's donated to them.
My sister goes there, and she has really a lot of fun, and she gets better there.
Did you enjoy doing that?
Yes.
Other families say they're humbled to be able to participate in a project like this one that can bring so much hope to families.
So no parent ever wants to think about having to bury their child, and so they bring hope sometimes to hopeless situations, and we were one of those situations where we were turned away locally from getting any help for our daughter, and so they stepped in to the picture and have given us hope.
An exciting milestone in that project. Something else we're excited about, tomorrow night's game with KU.
Yeah, Kansas getting set for tip-off against Maryland. A live update from Louisville coming up right after this.
From KSN Sports, this is the Chevy Sports Report.
And welcome back. The Kansas Jayhawks getting set to face Maryland in the Sweet 16 tomorrow night. It's the Big 12 versus the Big 10. Emily Gagnon in Louisville for Thursday's matchup between the Terrapins and Jayhawks. She joins us now live with an update.
Welcome back into downtown Louisville, less than 24 hours away from Maryland and KU, going at it for a spot in the Elite Eight. Now, when I met with players earlier today, Wayne Selden Jr. said that this team is riding 3 things into the Sweet 16. Confidence, chemistry, and talent. Those are the 3 things that these guys need to succeed. And he told me that if they have them, they are good to go.
Do you think complete team basketball, that's the biggest difference this season than previous?
Yeah, you know, especially my first year when we had all that talent, we really just didn't experience it, it didn't work out because we didn't really click well, you know. We had all the talent, but we weren't as locked in and as focused as we are now. You know, we guard a lot better than we did then, and I think it's just a more focused group.
I want to take it back before the season even started, when you guys went overseas. Do you think that made the biggest difference to get you guys to where you are now?
No, I think that probably got us a head start, but there was a point in the season where we were talking about people catching up, you know, and I feel like there was a point where they did, and we really had to put our foot on the gas, and I feel like we got better during the season. I think this season has made it big for us. I think that was just a big confidence booster, a big letting us know that we're a good team, that gold medal. But I think that was just a step in the right direction.
Players told me their one concern entering tomorrow's game against Maryland is Maryland's size. They are significantly bigger than the Jayhawks, but they said they've been there before, they faced big teams before, and they have never backed down and are not going to tomorrow. Eric?
All right, thanks a lot again. Should tip off right around 8:40 tomorrow night.
All right, we'll be right back.
I want to make one thing perfectly clear as we round up this wacky day. I did not track any locusts on the radar.
Whew,
but that's
no
the only
pestilence
thing.
Either.
That's the only thing we didn't have today.
We're going to have a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Good night.